welcome to my MatWorks favourites class. So we're going to start standing with a little warm up to start with and a setup, of course. So feet together, heels come out, toes come out to meet them, and then we're just going to take a gentle rock backwards and forwards, just moving that weight from your heel to your toe. And then bringing yourself to a standstill where that weight is evenly balanced between your heels and your toes. Coming up to those knees, remember they stay soft, so don't push that kneecap backwards, and then coming up to your pelvis. Thinking about it like a bucket, we're going to tip the water out of the back and out of the front. And then bringing that to a standstill where that tailbone is pointing down towards the floor. Restack those vertebrae, grow towards the ceiling. Thinking about that pelvic floor next. So we're getting in that lift on floor 1 and we're going to ride it up to floor 10. So feeling that internal squeeze from front to back. Remember, you shouldn't feel anything on the outside, so you shouldn't be squeezing your glutes. It's all internal. Holding it there. And then gently letting it off. And then one more time up to floor 10, holding it there. And then this time with control, we're going to slowly let it back down until we get to that floor 2 or 3. And that's our 20 to 30% we're going to hold for the rest of the session. Thinking about that TBA next, so putting on that big belt, drawing it up to the 10th hole. And then gently, with control, letting it off. And then again, up to that 10th hole. So feel your waist getting smaller, belly button moving towards your spine, ribs come down so they're in line with your hips, holding it there. And then slowly, with control, letting out until we get to that 2nd or 3rd notch, and that's our 20 to 30% we're going to hold for the rest of the session. Thinking about breathing next. So you want to breathe thoracically into the sides and the back of your rib cage. You're going to inhale through our nose, and then exhale through your mouth. And as you exhale, think about that pelvic floor drawing up a little bit higher. So as your diaphragm moves back up into your ribcage, your pelvic floor is also zipping up. So we're inhaling and exhaling. Inhale and exhale. One more here. Inhale and exhale. Super, well done. Okay, taking your right ear to your right shoulder, just drawing a gentle semicircle round to the left. So just mobilizing through that neck. Just a really slow, controlled movement, just feeling how it wants to move today. And then you're going to bring your head to the right hand side, and you're going to leave it on the right hand side. Bring your right hand up and just gently place it on top of your head. So you're not pulling on your neck, your hand is just working as a weight, holding it there. Then bring your head back up, taking your left ear to your left shoulder, bringing your left hand up on top of your head, holding it there as a weight. And bringing your head back up, turning your chin to 2 o'clock, nodding your head forward, placing your hand on top of your head. And bringing your head back up, turning your chin to 10 o'clock, nodding your head forward, placing your hand on top of your head, holding it there. And then bring your head back up. From here, we're going to take 3 shoulder rolls backwards and 3 shoulder rolls forwards. Then we're going to interlace those fingers and bring your hands above your head. Check in with that rib to hip, so make sure you haven't jutted those ribs forward, and we're just going to create a nice circle above your head. So a little bit like you're polishing your halo, we're just going to mobilize through those shoulders. This is a really nice exercise, especially if you've been doing a lot of typing or doing a lot of kind of work where you've been kind of holding your shoulders in place. This is just going to help to mobilize through them. Siri's getting involved. Okay, taking it the other direction. So you should just feel that loosening up through your upper back. And then we're going to start to make it a little bit bigger. So you're going to keep everything from your hips down still, and your upper body is going to move. It's a little bit like you're a human lasso, so you're just rolling your whole body round, making that movement as big as you feel comfortable. Remember, we're still warming up here, so don't overdo it. And then taking it in the other direction. Really reaching to each side and forward and back as you go around. One more here. And then coming back up to the middle, stretching your palms towards the ceiling and bringing those arms back down. Okay, from here we're going to work our arms as individuals. So you're going to bring one arm up in front. Imagine you're stuck behind a big counter, but you want something, it's just out of reach. So you're moving through your shoulder, you're going to reach forward, pick up your object, and then draw it back and put it back behind you. As you turn to the back, make sure your hips stay facing forward. So you're not turning through your body, you're just turning through your shoulder. So we're reaching forward and then pulling that arm back. Don't lean forward, reach through your shoulder. So we're opening up through that upper back and through those chest muscles here. So this is a really nice one. Again, if you've been doing a lot of office work, desk work, this is a really good exercise just to mobilize through that chest and upper back. Just get everything moving. Final 2 on this side. Keep your hips facing forward, core engaged. You can take your head to look where your hand is going, but that movement must come through your shoulder. Other side, arm comes up, so collarbone leads you forward, and then shoulder blade stretches you back behind. Keep standing tall, rib to hip, pelvic floor on. Really stretching through that arm, pulling it back behind you. Make sure you're not leaning your body forward as you go forward. Keep that movement coming through your shoulder. Going to do 2 more on this side. Keep those hips facing forward as you take that arm back. Final 1. And then bring that arm down by your side. Give those shoulders a little wiggle. And we're going to move on to our legs next. So we're going to start with balance. If you have a grey block and you wish to use it, you're very welcome. If you know that your balance can be a little bit iffy, make sure you have something solid that you can hold on to, like a wall or a table, something that isn't going to move whilst you're holding it. So left foot is coming onto the block first, standing tall, core engaged, going to bring that right leg out in front, and we're going to start with a semicircle. Hips stay facing forward, chin stays lifted, so you're creating space at your neck, space at your waist. Keep those hips forward so they're not turning, your body isn't turning, just your leg is moving. 1 more here. Then bring that leg to the front, and from here we're going to go on to a tap. So we're just going to gently tap the floor for 5. And out to the side for 5. round to the back for 5. Remember, you're tapping from your hip, not bending at the knee. And back to the front. We're going to do that again. So lifting for 5. Core engaged, standing tall. And out to the side for 5. And then round to the back for 5. And then back to the front. Now you can continue with taps, or you can come into a raise. So you're lifting that knee up and then raising for 5, keeping everything else nice and still. Core engaged. We're building strength in that supporting ankle and leg right now. And then taking that knee out to the side for 5. Then round to the back, push that foot back. And then bring it back to the front. Final time, core engaged, standing tall. And then out to the side. And round to the back, pushing your foot back, try not to lean forward. And back to the front, and then see if you can step off to the left hand side. Just check there's nothing there that you're going to stand on first, and then just see if you can kind of cross your legs over, get off that block or off the floor. Having a little look at your footprint if you were standing on a block, so trying to make a nice even heel and toe, flipping your block over, and we're going to go to the other side. So right foot on the block this time, core engaged, left leg out in front, and then making your circle. So when you circle, you can keep your toe on the floor if you want to, or you can just hover that leg above the floor. Remember, you're growing towards the ceiling, keeping your pelvis underneath you, spine in neutral, ribs in line with your hips. Okay, final 2 here. Nice stretchy circles. Final circle. And back to the front, starting with our taps. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Out to the side, core engaged, 5 taps. 3, 2, 1. Round to the back, 5 taps. Remember, you're not bending at the knee, you're just lifting from the hip. 1 and 5 taps, back to the front. 2, 1, back to the side, 5 taps. 2, 1, round to the back, 5 taps. 3, 2, 1, back to the front. So you can stick with taps or coming into that raise. Standing tall, core engaged. Here we go for 5. And then out to the side for 5. Keep standing tall, core engaged, shoulder blades melting down your back. 1 and back, push back for 5. Remember, don't lean forward. 2, 1, back to the top, raising for 5. 2, 1, out to the side for 5, core engaged, standing tall. 2, 1, round to the back, push back for 5. 3, 2, 1, and then bring that leg back to the front, crossing over to the right, check there's nothing there, and then stepping off to the right, give those ankles a little wiggle. Having a little look at your footprint, so you're trying to make a nice even heel and toe, and then just keeping that block somewhere where you can find it, because we will be using it later. Also, if you have a resistance band, you're going to need that too. If you don't have one, don't worry, we will do it without the band as well. So next, we're going to work a bit deeper into our legs, and we're going to do a lunge into a flamingo. So this is a good balance challenge, as well as being a good leg workout. So first of all, standing nice and tall, you need a little bit of room in front of you to step forward, and there needs to be nothing really behind you that you can step on, because we are going to step backwards as well, but kind of where this is your starting point, you're not going to go any further back than this. So if there is something behind you, it's not too bad, just don't have anything that you could step on and kind of trip over. From here, big step forward with that right leg. So we're coming into our lunge position. You're going to come down into a comfortable position. So don't take it too low. Have it where you feel like, oh, I could hold this for a while. Keeping your body upright. So try not to lean your body forward. Keep your body upright. Core engaged. Think about where that tailbone is. Then from here, we're going to bring both arms up in front. We're going to stretch one arm back and then back to the centre. One arm back on the other side. And then back to the centre. One more time to each side. Stretching that arm back and back to the centre and other side. Stretching that arm back and back to the centre. Now you can bring your arms near your sides, but you're going to bring your arms forward as you step forward onto that front leg. So we're going to step forward onto that front leg, lift your left leg up and your arms. Now we're going to step back, so this is why it's important. There's nothing there you're going to stand on, because you're going to just gently take that foot back so you're back into your lunge position. So core engaged, you're going to step forward and then slowly take it back to where you feel comfortable. So you go as low as you feel comfortable. Try not to use the momentum of your arms to take you forward. So slow your arms down so you're not using momentum. Standing tall in your flamingo. So think about chins lifted, core engaged, and then gently stepping back into your lunge. Core on, going again. Stretching to the ceiling. And then gently back to the floor. If you want to add in the breathing, you're holding for an inhale. Exhale as you move. Remember, you can take yourself as low as you want. We're going to do 3 more. Here we go. Final one. Okay, holding your lunge position, you're going to push that back heel into the floor, take that calf stretch, holding it there. Then pushing with that back foot, going to bring yourself back to standing, and we're going to swap sides. So you're going to take a big step forward with your left foot this time, coming into your lunge position, core engaged, standing tall, and then we're going to reach back with the right arm, stretching through those fingers, back to the middle, other side, stretching through those fingers, back to the middle, one more time to each side, stretching back, and to the middle, and stretching back, and to the middle. Bring those arms down by your side, get ready to go flamingo, and we're going to reach and hold. Exhale and back. Hold for an inhale, and exhale. Up, stretch towards the ceiling, hold, and then exhale. Back into your lunge. Don't worry if you lose your balance a little bit, just try and regain it. Exhale, back up. Really stretch those fingers towards the ceiling, have some energy in those hands. We've got 4 more to go, doing really well. Core engaged, standing tall. And then just gently stepping back. Remember, you can take it as low as you want to go. You can also take it as far back as you want to go. So if you go a bit further back, you've got a little bit further to reach. Remember, try not to use momentum to bring you forward. Two more. engaged, up into your final flamingo. Feel that stretch through your fingertips. Holding in your lunge, back heel to the floor. Take that calf stretch, hold it there. Then you're going to turn yourself back so that you're into the middle. Walk your your feet back into the middle. I don't know where feels came from. I think I was thinking heels. And then we're going to roll down to the mat. So feet are underneath you, standing tall, taking an inhale at the top. Exhale, tucking your chin, leading with the crown of your head. You're going to slowly mobilize through each vertebrae one at a time, coming down to the floor. Nice, slow, controlled roll down. When you get to the bottom, you're going to bend your knees and just come down to the mat. And then we're going to come into our swan dive first. So you're coming down onto your front, toes are tucked in, arms are coming into your swan dive position, so elbow in front of your shoulder. Eye line is staying down at the floor in front of you. We're going to do 4 plain swan dives to start with. So shoulder blades melting down your back, holding for an inhale. Core engaged, exhale. Bring your head, neck and shoulders off the floor, holding at the top for an inhale. And then exhale, gently lowering yourself back to the mat, holding at the bottom for an inhale. And again, exhale, sliding back up. Remember, there should be no discomfort in that lower back. It's all coming from that upper back. Eye line stays down so that neck is nice and long. Hold. Exhale, back to the floor, holding there for an inhale. And exhale, core engaged. Make sure you're not pushing your belly into the mat. So we have one more to go like this, and then we're going to add in a leg lift. Now, if the leg lift isn't quite right for you, then you can just add back in a single arm lift on each side instead. So one more original, and then we'll go on to our leg lift. So inhaling at the bottom, exhale, slide those shoulder blades down your back, holding at the top, slowly back to the mat. Okay, so just move your elbows back a tiny bit, because what you're going to do now is you're going to come up and then you're going to start to peel off from your elbows and kind of bring yourself up a little bit higher. So we're inhaling at the bottom, exhale, back is doing most of the work, and then your elbows are just going to come off the floor, come up a little bit higher. Again, there should be no tension in that lower back. You might be more up here, you might be a little bit lower. Just hold it where you feel comfortable. From here, we're going to take our body back down. So upper body comes back down. You're going to lift your right leg off the floor. Stretch that leg out, hold for an inhale. And then exhale, your torso is going to come up and your leg is going to make its way back down, holding at the top for an inhale. And then exhale, your left leg is going to come back up. Torso is going down, hold for an inhale. Exhale, leg goes down, body comes up, hold for an inhale. Exhale, right leg comes off the floor this time, stretching out through that leg. And then exhale, slowly back to the top. So if this isn't quite right for you, just go back to lifting and lowering an arm. More than anything, this is just quite a big coordination challenge, but it is also working into those legs and lower back a bit deeper. So just feel how it feels today. If it's not quite right for you today, then just go back to a single arm lift. That's totally fine. One more on each side. Belly button to spine, core engaged. So this time both legs stay on the floor, come back to the mat. From here, you're going to bring your hands under your shoulders, push yourself back and come into your child's pose, keeping your knees hip distance apart, stretching back, holding it here, shoulder blades melting down your back. Then from here, you're going to walk your left hand, so it's kind of underneath, but in the same position as your right hand. So left hand is under your right hand. Then you're going to move your right hand to the right, so that your hands are now shoulder width apart, but a step to the right. From here, you're going to push yourself up and into your hands. So push your weight into your hands, and then we're going to go back, sitting back down onto your feet, really stretching out through your back and then coming back up. So this is our oblique child's pose. So we're stretching out through those sides a bit more. Keep your eye line down at the floor. Make sure you're not cricking that neck. You're just taking your weight forward and then stretching it back. If you need to, move your hands forward a little bit so you get a deeper stretch as you go back. And we're going to do one more here, and then we're going to hold it in this position and make it a little bit of a deeper stretch. So this time hold. Then if you want to, move your left hand to your right hand again, right hand round again, left hand to right hand, and then just stretch through that side. So feeling that stretch in the side of your back, holding it there. Okay, then you're going to walk your hands back to the middle, and then from the middle you're going to walk your right hand to under your left hand, move your left hand to the side, so now you're kind of looking more to the left. Then from here we're going to come again and stretch forward and sit back, core engaged, eye line stays down at the floor. If you need to make that stretch a little bit deeper, just move your hands around a little bit further and stretch them a bit further away from your body. So you really feel that in your side as you stretch back and up. Going to do two more here, core engaged. Okay, final one. Sitting back, holding it there. So right hand to left hand. Then if you want to, left hand round a bit further, right hand round a bit further. Interlace those fingers and then just stretch out through that side, holding it there. Then walking your hands back to the middle. From here, we are going to come into our book and plan. So if you have a resistance band, you can use it on your legs. If you've got a grey block, that's really good for underneath your head cushion. It's kind of perfect head height for most people. Just play with it a bit, just check it is okay. So ankles and knees together. If you've got a loop band, you can just easily pull that on. If not, you're going to have to do a bit of crafty tying. So tying it in a nice bow so you can get out of it again, always really important. So you've tied yourself in a bow, and then we're coming down onto our left hand side first. So you're coming down onto your left hand side. Check that your neck feels comfortable. You might need an extra cushion or you might need less cushioning. Just have a little play with your setup. Make sure your hips and your shoulders are in line, and then the further away from the body you take your feet, the harder your climb becomes. If you don't have a band, don't worry, I'm going to talk you through it without it anyway. Core engaged, rib to hip connection. Top hand is coming so it's parallel with the bottom. From here we're going to take an inhale. Then we're going to exhale. Reach that arm up so it's in line with your shoulder. Rotate through that mid-spine to feel your rib cage moving, and look behind you. Hold for an inhale. And then exhale. Fight gravity and slowly bring that arm back down. So about 8 crocodiles to the bottom. That's how long it should roughly take. So we're inhaling, stretching forward, exhaling, reaching to the ceiling. When your arm gets in line with your shoulder, it kind of stops moving, and then your spine takes over, rotating through that mid-spine. Remember, hips stay stacked on top of each other. Make sure that hip doesn't roll backwards. Hold for an inhale. Exhale. Slowly, with control, bringing that arm back down. Nice, slow, controlled movement back to the start. Hold for an inhale and stretch that arm forward, and then exhale as you bring the arm up and over, holding at the back for an inhale. Then exhale. Core engaged, zip up that pelvic floor. Bring that arm back down, holding at the bottom for an inhale. We've got 2 more to go. Stretch forward. Exhale, up and over. Holding at the back for an inhale. And then exhale. Slowly, with control, bringing that arm back down. Okay, final time. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, reaching up and over. Look to your fingers, inhale. And then exhale. Slowly, with control, bringing that arm back down. And then this time, just moving your hands to wherever they're comfortable. So you can leave them out there if you like, or bring them closer to you. Ankles are staying on the floor for now. Core engaged. We're going to imagine there's a big, heavy object on top of your leg. We're going to take an inhale at the bottom. And then on the exhale, we're going to push that heavy object off the top of your leg. Make sure your hip doesn't roll backwards, so you're bringing that leg up without that hip moving. Core engaged. Hold at the top for an inhale. And then exhale, big spring between those knees, and we're pushing it back together, holding at the bottom for an inhale. Exhale, pushing that knee to the ceiling. Hold it for an inhale. And then exhale, gently bringing that knee back down on your exhale, holding at the bottom for an inhale. And exhale. Push that leg up. Really focus on that heavy book. Hold it there for an inhale. And then exhale. Slowly back down. Final one here. Inhaling at the bottom. Exhale. Pelvic floor engaged. Core is on. Keep those hips stacked, one on top of the other. Hold for an inhale. And then exhale, gently with control, bringing that knee back to the start. Okay. From here, if you want to, you can bring your heels off the floor. Don't have to, you can keep them on the floor if you want to. It's just going to make it slightly more tricky. So core engaged, pelvic floor on, taking an inhale. Exhale. Push that knee to the sky. Remember, keep those hips stacked on top of each other. Push into the top of that leg. Hold for an inhale. Exhale. Push that big spring back to the floor. Hold for an inhale. And then exhale. Back to the top, holding it there for an inhale. Exhale. Gently back to the floor, or back together. Hold at the bottom for an inhale. And exhale, really push that heavy object off the top of that leg, holding it there. Keep those hips stacked on top of each other, core engaged, ribs to hips. And then exhale back to the center. Final time here, inhale. Exhale. Push that leg to the sky, hold it. And then exhale, gently bringing that leg back down, this time bringing your heels to the floor, and we're going to swap sides and work on our left side. So you're coming down onto your right hand side now. Again, thinking about your setup, so shoulder and hip need to be in a line. Arm is coming out, core engaged. Remember, the further away from your body you move your feet, the harder your clam becomes. We're going to inhale, stretch that arm forward. Exhale, bring it up into the air, and then rotate through that mid-spine. Look to your fingers, inhale. And then exhale. Fight gravity and slowly, with control, bring that arm back down to the mat. Holding at the bottom for an inhale. And then exhale. Up. Rotate through that mid-spine. Look to your fingers, inhale. And then exhale. Pelvic floor on, core engaged. Gently bringing that arm back down to the floor. Holding here for an inhale. And exhale. Stretch that arm up into the ceiling. Really feel like there's some energy through your fingers. Really stretch that arm away from you. Make sure your hips stay stacked on top of each other and don't roll back. And then gently, fighting gravity, bringing that arm back to the center. Inhale, reaching forward. Exhale, really stretch to the ceiling. Arm comes in line with your shoulder, and then rotate through that mid-spine. Hold at the back. And then exhale. Fight gravity. Slowly bringing that arm back to the center. Hold here for an inhale, stretching forward. Exhale, back up. After this one, we've got one more to go. Stretch back, inhale. And then exhale. Slowly, with control, bringing that arm back down to the center. Final time. Stretching forward, reaching to the ceiling, getting in line with your shoulder, and then rotating through that mid-spine. Nice slow, controlled movement towards the mat. And from here, you can just bring your arms to wherever is comfortable, and we're going to move on to our clam. So big heavy object on top of that leg. We're taking an inhale at the bottom. Exhale, push that knee up to the sky. Make sure that hip doesn't roll backwards. It's one of the things that the band is really good for. It kind of makes that a lot more tricky to do. Holding it there for an inhale, core engaged. Exhale, gently bring that knee back down. Remember, you're squeezing that big spring back together. Hold at the bottom for an inhale. And exhale. Stretching that leg up to the ceiling, holding for an inhale. And exhale. Slowly lowering that knee back to the mat, holding at the bottom for an inhale. And exhale. Push that knee to the ceiling, holding it there for an inhale. Remember, you're really pushing up with the top of that leg, but not letting your hip roll. And exhale. Gently back to the mat. Two more here. Inhale at the bottom. exhale. Hold at the top. And then exhale, releasing back off. Hold at the bottom for an inhale. And exhale. Hold at the top, inhale. And exhale. Okay, from here you can bring your heels into the sky if you want to, or you can leave your feet on the floor. Core engaged, we're going to take an inhale. Exhale, push that knee towards the sky, really pushing up into the top of that leg. Keep your hips stacked. Push that spring back together as you come back down, inhaling at the bottom. And exhale. Pushing that leg back up, holding at the top, inhale. And exhale. Gently back to the floor, hold at the bottom for an inhale. And exhale. Push that knee back to the top, keep those hips stacked on top of each other. And then exhale. Gently back to the mat. Final time here. Inhale and exhale. Push that knee to the sky. Hold for an inhale and then exhale. Gently releasing that leg back off, heels to the floor, and making your way back to sitting for me. So untying the band, I'm going to do a nice glute stretch from here, just to stretch out those glutes. So you're coming into your box position, making sure there's some room behind you. You're going to take your left leg out behind you, slide it over to the right hand side of your body, and then you're just gently taking it backwards. So you're sitting down, you can feel that stretch through your glutes. You might be up here, you might be on your elbows, or you might have those arms out in front of you. Just take it to where you can hold it there. Holding there a bit longer, see if you can melt into that stretch a bit more. Then tucking your back toes, bringing yourself back up into your box position. Right leg behind you, swivel it over to the left hand side. Again, just sliding yourself backwards so you can feel that stretch in your left glute, holding it there. Just melting into that stretch a bit more. Then tucking your back toes, bringing yourself back up to sitting, and we're going on to our backs next. So bringing yourself gently down to the mat, going to start with our pelvic clock. So having your hands on your pelvis is going to help this one, so you can kind of help with the manipulation a bit and just kind of feel where those numbers are. So feet are hip distance apart, core engaged. You've got a clock laying on your pelvis. 12 is up at your belly button, 6 is down near your pubic bone, 3 and 9 are your hips. So holding it in neutral, so pelvis is in neutral to start with, little gap under that low back, tailbone pointing off away from you. You can shut your eyes if you want. I find it helps. Holding in the middle, going to take an inhale. Then you're going to exhale and just roll into 12. So just going to bring your pelvis towards 12 o'clock, so flattening off your back into the floor. Going to come back to the centre. Then we're going to go to 1 o'clock. So just a little bit further to the left, but again, kind of bringing that pelvis up off the floor. And again, back to neutral, now to 2. So we're going a little bit further to the left, not quite rolling onto your hip, but getting there. Hold it. And then back to the centre. And then rolling to 3 o'clock. So left hip, just rolling towards that left hip. Back to the centre. Now we're going to go to 4. So just rolling left and down a bit. So arching through your back a little bit. And lifting your hip bones off the floor a bit more. And then to 5. So again, kind of almost pointing towards your left foot. Back to the middle. 6 o'clock, so just tailbone to the floor, back to the centre. Then 7, so pointing towards your right foot, back to the centre. 8, so just under that hip bone, back to the centre. 9, roll to your hip bone, back to the centre. Then to 10, so just above that hip, lifting that pelvis off the mat a little bit now, or tilting it, not really lifting, I suppose. Then 11, so just a little rock. We're nearly back to the top, back into neutral, and then again to 12, back to the centre. So we're going to go around one more time. This time I'm going to be quiet so you can really focus on what you're doing. And then after, we'll take a full body stretch, and then we're going to go into our single leg and arm stretch. So holding in the middle, taking an inhale, and then breathing naturally as you move round the clock, starting now. Once you've finished, taking a full body stretch. And then bringing your feet back to flat on the floor. Hopefully everybody's ready to go. If not, just catch us up in a minute. Arms are coming so that your palms are facing your knees. We're going to take our same arm and leg away from the centre. Now you can slide your foot along the floor, or you can hover it off the floor, whichever you prefer. The weight is staying even in your pelvis, so as you take that leg away, you shouldn't feel like you're rolling towards it or trying to move away from it. Pelvis stays in neutral, keep that core engaged. So we're inhaling in the middle. Exhale. Take that same side arm and leg away. Hold for an inhale, and then exhale. Sliding them back to the centre. Hold in the middle for an inhale. Think wide thoracic breathing. Engage your core. Exhale. Zip up that pelvic floor. Move the other side away. Really stretch out through the arm and leg. Remember, you can place them on the floor if you want to, or hover. Back to the centre. Hold in the middle for an inhale. Exhale. Other side. Stretching out through that arm and leg. Hold. Keep thinking belly button to spine. Keep that core engaged. And remember, you're keeping that weight even in each side of your pelvis. So as you move that arm and leg out, don't let your pelvis rock, keeping it in its neutral position. Going to do one more to each side. Stretching out through that arm and leg. Final one. Then from here, you're going to hug both knees into your chest and just give that back a little rock. And then bring both feet back to either being flat on the floor, or you can take your legs out longer. We're going to roll up. So arms into the air, take an inhale. Exhale, tuck your chin and roll yourself gently up to sitting. If you know that isn't going to work for you, then just finding your way to sitting however works for you. So next, I'm going to do another little back exercise, really nice, a little back stretch. So I want you to sit up nice and tall, feet are hip distance apart in line with your knees. You can take your hands onto the back of your legs or onto the front of your shins. Sitting up really nice and tall, thinking shoulder blades melting down your back. We're going to take an inhale here. Then you're going to exhale, and as you do, you're going to tuck your chin, tilt your pelvis, take yourself back into a C-curve hold, and then bring yourself back up on your next exhale, so you're sitting up nice and tall. And this time we're going to curl forward. So inhale, then exhale. Think about your head leading the way. You're just going to curl yourself around your legs. You can hug into your thighs if you want, or just stretch your fingers out in front of you. Hold, and then exhale, grow back up to sitting. So sitting tall, inhale. Exhale, tilt back. Stretching into that C-curve, hold. Exhale. Back to sitting tall, hold for an inhale. And then exhale. Curling yourself forward, hugging those knees, pulling your shoulder blades down your back, hold. Exhale. Growing back up to sitting. Going to do it one more time to each, back and forward. Inhale. Exhale. Rolling back into your C-curve. Hold for an inhale. And then exhale. Bringing yourself back up, sitting up really tall on those sit bones, feeling them grounding you to the floor. Hold. And exhale. Stretching your body forward, shoulder blades sliding down your back, hold. And then exhale, back to sitting. From here, you're going to take your right leg out long, bring your left leg up and over your right leg. Again, sitting up nice and tall, really feel those sit bones on the floor. Right arm is going to wrap round, left arm is coming to the side, and you're just pulling that knee in, taking that piriformis stretch. Okay, then come back to the middle, take that leg over, so your left foot is now sitting on the left-hand side of your right knee. Going to let that knee fall out to the side. Now, if you want to, you can place a cushion underneath it if you don't like that leg just hanging. Make sure, again, you're sitting up nice and tall on those sit bones. Right hand is coming behind you for a bit of support. Left arm comes into the air. From here, you're going to bend forward. Imagine you're bending over kind of like a mini football, so a tiny bend forward. And as you bend forward, you're going to bring your left hand on either the side of your right foot or the side of your right leg, any way you can get to basically, so you can feel that stretch through your hamstring. Then you're going to push both knees back down into the floor. So really push your left knee down, try and open up through that hip, holding it here, breathing into your stretches. Holding there a little bit longer. And then slowly releasing off, come up steadily because your head's been down there for a while. Going to bring that knee back in, slide that left leg out, bring your right leg up and over your left leg, wrapping that left arm round, right arm comes behind you, sitting up nice and tall, feeling that stretch in your piriformis, holding it there. And you're going to come back to the centre, bring your right knee so it's sitting on the right hand side of your left knee. Again, let that knee fall out, sitting up nice and tall. You can put a cushion underneath it if you need to. Left hand comes behind you, so no it doesn't. Yes it does. Left hand comes behind you so it's supporting you. Right hand comes into the air. I don't know why that felt wrong this time. And then you're going to just bend over that little football. Bring your right hand forward, either onto the side of your foot or on the side of your leg, wherever you can get to. Push both knees back to the floor. Hold it there. And slowly releasing off. Going to find your way to cross-legged. Move your hands forward and see if you can bring yourself onto your knees. If you know that just isn't going to happen for you today, just finding your way into your box position. From here, you're going to take your left leg through the gap between your right arm and leg. Weight goes onto your hands and you're going to find your way to your bum. Move your hands round to the right hand side of your body. Bend your right leg. Push your weight into your hands. Find your way back to your knees, and then we're going to go in the other direction. So core engaged, good box in the middle. Right leg goes through the gap between your left arm and leg. Weight on your hands. Find your way to your bum. Hands come round to the left hand side of your body. Bend your left leg, weight into your hands, and you can slide yourself round so you're back onto your knees. From your box position, you're going to tuck your toes and push yourself backwards into your inverted V. So shoulder blades sliding down towards your hips, so make sure your shoulders aren't near your ears. Push your heels down into the floor if you can, or just as close as you can, holding it there. Then softening off at the knee, walk your hands back in, lengthen through those legs again, hold for an inhale, and then exhale. Tuck your pelvis back underneath you, keep your ribs connected to your hips, and slowly Restack those vertebrae back to standing. Super. Feet are hip distance apart. You're going to bend your knees. You're going to bring your right arm up and over, either onto the side of your left leg or under your left foot. Then bring your left arm into the air and pull your right shoulder back towards the ceiling. You can bend your left arm and just place it on your back if you want to. Then bringing both arms back to the front, rolling up through that spine again. And we're going to go to the other side, so bend those knees. Left arm comes up and over, either onto the side of that right leg or under your right foot. Right arm into the air, pull your left shoulder back to the ceiling. If you want to, you can bend that left arm and just place it on your back, hold it there. And coming back to the centre, slowly again, just rolling up through those vertebrae, one at a time. And we're going to do 3 big breaths to finish. So remember, wide thoracic breathing, scooping up that pelvic floor on the exhale. So inhale up and exhale down. Inhale up and exhale down. And final time, inhale up and exhale. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's mat work favourites. Drink plenty of water and I'll see you on the mat again very soon. Bye for now.